Now for some sporting action, the question for many sport watchers of late is that a GPS tracker or bra? In modern rugby, all the leading union clubs use data to monitor fitness and also to prevent injuries, as well as tracking players' positions with devices such as wearable GPS trackers. The data captured from these technologies plays a key role in preventing player injuries. Khotso Sello sits down with Lions Rugby conditioning coach Stefan van Deventer to learn more about this technology.
Over the years, advancements in technology and data management processes in all top sports have led the way in better defining individual and team performances, and rugby union is no exception. Coaches and other backroom staff can now be seen in the stands with a wide variety of computers and technology, monitoring all aspects of the match in great detail. Different camera angles, data and analysis are now available to them right there and then to make instant decisions as well as post-match reviews.
In terms of professionalization of sport, it's pretty young in the industry. Not so long ago, people were still having oranges at halftime and magic sprays and all sorts of things. And now the sport, the face of the sport is changing and a lot more science is going into it. Just take us through the evolution of the sport and where we are today.
Yes, I think in terms of, especially rugby, it's quite young in terms of technology. I remember 6-7 years ago, there wasn't a lot. I think since I took over in about just after COVID, the amount of technology that came in that past 5-6 years is massive. We're looking at GPS tracking, the new mouth guard system that's being implemented in URC and World Rugby, also looking at gym devices that measures velocity in the gym, looking at recovery systems like the Volt system. So the face of sports, and especially rugby, has changed quite a lot in the past 5-6 years, and I think it's quite beneficial towards player management and the insight it gives us towards looking at a player's performance, where we can be better in terms of coaching and just the normal well-being of the players.
And I mean, you spoke about some of these nifty gadgets, GPS trackers and mouth guards. Just take us through what a GPS tracker does and what a mouth guard does and any other device that we might not know of back at home.
So the GPS device sits on the back of the player's back between his scapula. So usually there's a lot of photos where the players will run around in bras. That's actually just to assist the GPS to stay nice and tight on the body, and then the jersey's got pockets in as well that we use on game day. So that device picks up distance, accelerations, decelerations, it picks up impact, it picks up the player load. So there's about looking anything from 300 to 400 different variables that you're able to look at on the system we're currently using. We've got about 10 to 12 that we currently use as a performance marker, but that's something we put it on before a game. The player plays with it after the game. We sync it up to the cloud, and we get all the live data that the player did in the training session as well in the games. And we've also got live tracking, where we could see as minute by minute how the players are moving in training sessions and in the game. So that's from the GPS side. One of the newer implementations is the mouth guards that picks up impacts. So it works on G-force. It's got a small accelerometer in the mouth guard. So if it comes above a certain G-force, it gives a warning on an iPad and to the medical staff next to the field to say the player had a significant impact. He's got to be looked at. So that's World Rugby looking to be safe in terms of collisions and head impacts. I know there's a lot of research that's been done in the past few years, NFL and now in rugby. So that's probably one of the newer benefits that is in rugby, and I think it's great in terms of just looking at players' general well-being and life after rugby and stuff like that, just to make sure concussion-wise we don't force a subject that doesn't have to be forced, and we can look at the player welfare.
And I think a big question that also comes in is, how much does that data translate into results? Maybe the data says this player needs to rest, but this player feels like if he plays more, he gets better.
That's where the fine balance is between the medical staff, the S&C staff, and the sports scientists, just to look at that data and make sure what we can use and what's going to be beneficial for the players. And the old school conversation for players is always valuable. So listen up, how are you feeling? Just seeing out of your stats, it's something to be concerned on, and that's a good conversation. The stats play a little bit of a part, but the player and your gut feeling also plays a big part. Like I said, 6, 7, 8 years ago, we were still working on gut feelings, and we just, in terms of knowing a good player, or knowing how good the player is in terms of the relationship with the S&C or the sports scientist, you know when the player is lying or not lying. So that was the old school way of it's just a good conversation. Like, now, feeling good, coach, I'm looking, and you're looking good. Where now the GPS just assists us a little bit more in terms of that. It just gives a little bit more insight in the player's performance and in recovery, because we also use a lot of GPS stats to help return the players from injuries to get them back in the field, to make sure when they get back on the field, they're 100% where they left off before they got injured.
And with this whole transition towards data and tech and all of that, is it building a lot more trust from players to you guys as coaches? How's the trust?
I think it's because it's the old saying, stats doesn't lie. So it's a good conversation between a coach, a player, and an S&C or the sports scientist in terms of the stats. So I feel there is a good bond, and the way you implement it is definitely going to help the trust. So if you just look at the data and you keep it to yourself and you don't have a chat to a player or a coach about the data, it's a good conversation. The players know what's his targets, how good was in the training session, did he meet the intensity that was needed. And it's also good feedback for the coach in terms of, listen up, this is a good drill, it gives us good intensity. Or yes, coaches, we're a little bit sluggish on this drill, let's try to pick up the intensity on the next drill. Because we get live feedback on it, it's an easy chat with a coach and a player, listen up, pick up your intensity or pick up the drill, or just have a general look at the session. So it builds definitely a lot of closer bonds with the coach, player, and S&C and sports scientist. But I think previous years, it was more the S&C and the player that had a good relationship in terms of his performance, and then the coach will be a chat between the S&C and the coach, more than was it now currently between all three of them.
No, just out of curiosity from my side, I mean, you someone who's visibly told us that you've played rugby before, and I guess in your playing days, all of these mechanics were not in place. What are some of the things that you've seen that have transformed in rugby and have made the game a little bit better due to the implementation of science?
Yes, I think currently all the systems we're currently using, from Volt, that's our wellness and recovery system and testing system, that we use to make sure the players are ready after the game, and looking at neuromuscular fatigue. Then also gym, using velocity-based system to make sure the players are also performing in the gym-wise as well. Then GPS, that making sure we're tracking well throughout the week to make sure we're not going over or undercooked in the week. So I think all the technologies we're currently using in our system is to our benefit, and it's definitely having an influence on how we perform on game day and in training sessions.
And just some fun facts that people don't know at home, about using all these gadgets that you have lying around.
So on the GPS, that is not a bra. There's a purpose. There's a purpose behind the bra. So it uses to keep it's there to keep the GPS nice and close to the body, because if there's a little bit of movement, the accelerometer moves around and we don't get correct data. And yeah, it's not all about just looking at the data and just collecting 60 different spreadsheets. It's actually implementing it and making sure we're getting better day by day. So it's definitely an army of people to analyze data and look at it and make sure we get ready for the game. So I think that's why at Lions we currently got a good staff in terms of people working together and looking at the data to make sure everyone does their department as well as possible to make sure we get the best possible result on a Saturday.
And where we are in terms of tech in the sport, do you see, the tech getting even better and that in its sense enhancing the product rugby?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure what else they're going to bring in, but the fine-tuning of all the current systems is definitely going to revolutionize the rugby, from the mouth guards to the GPS to the training device in the gym to recovery systems. I think keep on evolving that and getting it sharper and sharper and making data collection easier is definitely going to be in future the way forward in terms of how to manage players, look at players, but you still got to have the human part as well. It can't be just about data. You've got to have a good, decent chat with a player as well to see how I feel. So I think with all the tech that comes with it, there's still got to be a human element to what we do, because we're working with 15, 23 oaks on a Saturday and we're all human beings. So you've got to make sure that relationship is still good. Where the tech assist us is great, but it's still got to be mana culpa mana.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thanks, man.